Welcome to this special ChannelX Leaders interview. Delighted to be speaking to Simon today from Robert Dyas. Welcome, Simon. How are you?
Thanks, Chris. Good to be. I'm very well, thank you. Looking forward to this.
Excellent. So, Robert Dyas, it's got to be one of the best known and oldest names on the high street, but also today a marketplace. So what's happened over the years with Robert Dyas to change from being the place you went to get your cleaning products or your hardware products on the high street to an online marketplace where you can buy almost anything for the home and garden?
Yeah, as you said, it's been well known for selling home and garden products on the British High Street. It's been around for over 150 years, 1872, and about 10 years ago, I joined the business, and Theo set me the challenge of trying to grow the online part of the business. And obviously what Robert Dyas is known for in the high street, all those consumable products and home and garden products lend themselves to the British High Street, and you can pop in and you can pick up what you need for the weekend. Online, we needed to develop something a little bit broader, lent itself to what you purchase online, a more considered purchase. So we started expanding in the same categories that we operated in the store, but higher ticket items. So in garden, it was the garden furniture and barbecues, which led into indoor furniture as well, and higher ticket electrical appliances. So really, it was an avenue for us to start growing that, and we started exploring by stocking the item in a traditional wholesale approach. Quickly found that wasn't going to be scalable, and it wasn't realistic for us to do that on a pace and to scale. So we started drop shipping, and we started working with a few suppliers who just wanted to sort of make the product and ship the product. And we worked with those guys for a number of years, and we continually built up the dropship business. And it's evolved over the years, and we now have over 600 suppliers on the Robert Dyas website, and it's continuing to grow.
So this is really interesting because the dropship model, it's a bit different to sort of an eBay or Amazon model where you just log on, list your products and sell. So talk me through, I think there's two things of interest. One is kind of the mechanics of how do you list on a dropship marketplace like a Robert Dyas, or dropship to people. Some people are calling it now, to as opposed to first party selling and third party selling, we've now got second party selling.
Yeah.
And then I've got other questions I want to ask about the pricing and merchandising as well, because I know that's a little bit different, and more of a traditional sort of brand or wholesaler to retailer model where the retailer retains a lot of the control. But talk to me about the mechanics of it first of all. How, if I want to sell a Robert Dyas, how do I get involved?
Yeah, and we'll leave a link in the description of this video, so suppliers can register with us. They're interested of selling on Robert Dyas, supplier on Robert Dyas, and we have a dedicated team that reach out and onboard those suppliers. But as you said, the terminology is changing over the years, and what was traditional 1p wholesaling and 3p marketplace selling, and then this middle ground of 2p drop shipping. Yeah, I mean, the mechanics of it is essentially, if you're a supplier who is doesn't really want to massively get involved in the day-to-day trading or the day-to-day marketing of the product, but just wants to make it and ship it, as I said earlier, then drop shipping could be that perfect avenue for you as a business, which allows us as the retailer. One of the things I've found over the years of working at Robert Dyas is just how much we value our supplier relationships, and we really work on building those relationships with our suppliers as much as we do for our stocked in business, that we serve our stores and elements of our website, but all the way through our dropship suppliers as well, which is sometimes the risk that you don't get by just being a marketplace seller, is that you can sort of fall through the cracks of just being very disconnected from just
Yeah.
retailer or the platform itself. There are instances of the great platforms out there that are building those seller relationships, but we definitely pride ourselves in trying to having those positive relationships with suppliers. And essentially, we take care of the ranging, the pricing, the trading, the marketing. We are the seller of record, essentially. So we are the ones who are own the customer relationship, own that customer experience. And we work with the suppliers just on that sort of distribution, but also what their plans are in terms of how we want to build out their ranges online.
Just stepping back a little bit to the ranging and the actual supply side, have you expanded purely with new suppliers to Robert Dyas, or have you found that some of your existing suppliers who perhaps you stocked a limited range, because obviously in store there's only so many products you can have on the shelf regardless of how big your warehouse is, have you expanded their ranges as well? Has it been, where has the growth come, or is it coming from both sides, both existing suppliers and new?
It's definitely coming from both sides. So I mean, for those that have been in a Robert Dyas store, we sell a lot of products, and we fit a lot of products into our store.
I know, I've been in there. What did you
constantly
bring?
surprised by how many products we fit in. It's a bit like an Aladdin's cave. We work with hundreds of suppliers for our retail part of the business, and a lot of those suppliers also work with us from a dropship perspective online as well, because obviously they themselves might range 30-40 products with us in our stores, but have a catalogue of hundreds. So that allows us to build on the already existing relationship and range their extended range online with ease.
And I guess this is a nice way of getting to the sort of semi-direct consumer model, where rather than shipping it by the pallet to Robert Dyas, you're now shipping it one by one to the consumer, but you've got Robert Dyas almost hand-holding you with all of your retail expertise of merchandising, pricing, promotion, etc.
Absolutely, and it's definitely the evolution of traditional wholesaling, and COVID really accelerated that in terms of from both the retailer side and the supplier side, and it offers that natural next step for manufacturers, for suppliers, for distributors. Who might have an end goal one day of doing direct to consumer. It depends on what their business model is looking at. But at Robert Dyas, we obviously enable that journey with suppliers as well, where they can offer their entire catalogue on Robert Dyas, and we have millions of customers, and we're able to talk to those customers, and we obviously have our store network that we're able to liaise with as well. So yeah, it's a complete mix of existing suppliers and loads of new suppliers as well that we've welcomed into the Robert Dyas ecosystem.
So I want to talk marketing and merchandising and pricing and everything. And I think there's two types of people that are going to be really interested in this. One is the traditional wholesale to retail supplier that have traditionally shipped pallets to you in the past, but are now shipping one by one. But I think that the people that are almost going to be even more interested are the people that are used to selling on the marketplaces like the eBays and Amazon, where they're in control of the pricing, they're paying for retail media, promoted listings, sponsored brands. But now you're taking over that, and you're also taking over control of pricing and discounting and everything. And they've got to get into the mindset of acting more like your traditional wholesale supplier that are used to giving you a pallet of products at a set price, and then you add on your markup. So it's kind of a different model to traditional online marketplaces.
It is, and it's more of an extension of wholesale and closer to the wholesale part rather than marketplace selling. As I said before, we're the seller of record. It's our relationship with the customer. Whereas obviously being on a marketplace, whether it's Amazon or eBay, and there's a lot of new ones coming through, like B&Q, then the seller is the owner of the record and relationship there, rather than the platform. And it's constantly evolving, and it depends really. It depends on the supplier's business model. Not our business model, the supplier's business model. And if the supplier's business model is, you know what, we want, as I said before, we want to make it and we're happy to ship it, right? But we don't want to get involved in the day trading of that and the offering to the customer and picking up of that. Our specialism is in making product and shipping product. Then Robert Dyas is perfect because we work with hundreds and hundreds of suppliers that want to do that. For those who are more sellers who've evolved their business on that journey and now doing direct to consumer, it depends whether it conflicts with that or whether or not it's a good adjacency for it to work with Robert Dyas in that model. So it is for some, it isn't for others. I don't think there's one definitive that goes, you have to do it this way.
Yeah, and I think there's huge advantages from the 2P dropship model. From the point of view, I hear so many complaints nowadays that on traditional marketplaces, it's almost pay to play with the retail media. You're constantly putting your hand in your product to promote your products. Whereas selling 2P with a retailer like Robert Dyas, if there's a Black Friday promotion, it's you that's paying to advertise the products and promote them out there. It's you driving the traffic to the website. I've set my wholesale price, and that's the price I'll get, regardless whether, in fact, whether you make money or not doesn't really matter to me so much.
It is, and as I said, it comes completely down. I think the visibility of what goes on a marketplace platform compared to a retailer doing dropship, sometimes it isn't as well known for suppliers or sellers. So they are different. They have very different variable cost models, for instance. So you might think that, okay, I'm spending all of this money on the marketing piece if I'm a seller to be able to push the product on retail media and all of that. But they might be paying slightly less on the commission than they would have to be providing if it was a dropship wholesale model to be able to get into a retailer. But then the retailer takes care of an element of that digital marketing and those payment fees, and they're pricing it so that they can make a profit. So it does absolutely vary, and it comes down to, I think it's moving more towards in terms of what is the business model of the supplier rather than necessarily the business model of the retailer or the platform. And it needs to synchronize with the seller stroke suppliers goals and not conflict. And we've definitely encountered scenarios definitely over the last year where a supplier has evolved their business and brought a direct-to-consumer arm, and they've been doing wholesale for decades, and they've been doing dropship for 10, 20 years, and direct-to-consumer is that next evolution for them as a business, and they're still trying to find their ways to how it conflicts with their traditional wholesale and dropship approach. And so it's I think everybody's constantly evolving, constantly learning in terms of how to do it. But I don't think it's as clear cut as saying marketplace is more profitable for me or dropship is more profitable for me. I think there are nuances within it that need to be taken into account.
So the one thing people are going to be interested is which categories are you looking for new suppliers in? We know what you'd find in a traditional Robert Dyas store, but you've already told me you've got hundreds of sellers and thousands of products that aren't in store online. So are there any particular areas that you're looking to expand in? Any areas you've got shortages in? Is it still early enough that I can get in time for Q4 and benefit from the Christmas selling period with Robert Dyas?
Absolutely, and that's a good opportunity, and we pride ourselves on not being slow at onboarding. We have to go through a certain amount of due diligence and process. Obviously, the laws have changed over the years, and protections are quite rightly in play for a lot of consumers. So we need to make sure that all of those are going to work with the supplier. But we are a generalist home and garden retailer, so anything for your home and garden, which covers near enough everything. The two areas that we don't have a huge amount of focus on is fashion and food, but anything functional, electrical, varying price points. I mean, we have products on our website that are 50p, similar to what you see in the store, all the way up to £20,000 sheds. So we're not focusing just on sort of one core pricing architecture. And absolutely, gifting for Christmas is something that we've spent the last several months trying to build up and expand, because we saw some good growth last year on it, and we want to double down in that area this year. So if your product is suitable for Black Friday and Christmas, then absolutely reach out to Robert Dyas, and we'd love to have a conversation with you.
And again, we'll put the link just beneath this video in comments to connect with Robert Dyas. So the final question then, Simon, is what's the future looking like for Robert Dyas? You started off 150 years ago as high street stores. You're now an online dropship channel. Obviously, in between there, you built your own website out. But what's next for Robert Dyas? What can we expect to see in the future?
Yeah, I don't think there's. I wouldn't like to predict the future of exactly where we're going, but we're here to serve customers. We're here to offer a great customer experience, and we've been launching initiatives over the last year around offering things like same-day click and collect for all of our products in store. And you know what, one of the areas we're looking into at the moment is how do we introduce elements of that for some of our dropship suppliers. So we're exploring how we can integrate more between our stores and our online parts of the business to really give that complete customer journey. So that's where we're focusing some of our efforts going forward.
So exciting times for Robert Dyas. And for anyone that wants to join, just look below this video for comments on how to become a dropship supplier. And Simon, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.